Okay, hi everybody. Today we are going to be talking about how to properly use lab equipment. So there are several things that we're going to talk about. First one is a calculator. So this is a calculator. Obviously you've probably seen it before. You've got it on your phones. It comes with a little cover. So in order to correctly use this, you want to take the cover off, make sure it's turned on, and then just make sure it's zeroed out before you do any kind of math. Okay, it needs to have a 0 at the top, and then that's how you know that you're ready to go. Next, we have microscopes. So these are what we call handheld microscopes. You can open this up, put a battery in it, and then all you have to do is look through the top. The most important thing when you're using one of these is to make sure that the light is on and that it's focused. So you focus it right here. You look through it, put it flat on the ground, and then focus it. And so you can look at things like salt particles and things that are really tiny that you can't see with your own eye. The next one is a hand lens. So you might think about this as a magnifying glass, but in science class we call it a hand lens. And the same thing with the microscope, just make sure that it's in focus. So you may need to go closer or further away in order to see it, but that's how you use this. The next one that we're going to talk about is a ruler. Okay, so in order to properly use the ruler, make sure if you're measuring in inches, you start at the 0 over here. And if you're using centimeters, which is the smaller side, again, make sure it's just lined up at the very end. Because if you got it in the middle, it's going to be a lot longer than it actually is if you were to start it over here at the end. So make sure you're starting at the 0 and make sure you know whether you're measuring in centimeters or in inches. The next one, a thermometer. Okay, so this is just a pretend thermometer, so I can actually raise and lower the temperature if I want to, just to show you. So the most important thing with the thermometer, the red is the temperature. It's pretty simple, but make sure that it's either Celsius or Fahrenheit. So right now, it says that it is 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That's actually the boiling point of water. And if I were to lower it all the way down to right here, it's 0 degrees Celsius, but it's actually 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the freezing point of water. So just make sure that you know which degree you're measuring in. Okay, the next one that we have are the balances. So this is where most people get messed up because there's a difference between the two types of balances that we use. This first one is just called a balance, okay? It goes back and forth. For example, if I wanted to see which was heavier, the hand lens or the microscope, put one on one end, one on the other. Okay, obviously, the microscope is heavier, right? Pretty simple. It's just going to go up and down like this, and then you can take these off and clean them. This next one is a little more complicated. This is a triple beam balance. Okay, this measures mass, and you can see it's called a triple beam balance because, well, there are 3 beams. Each one of those have a different measurement on them. So this big one with this big weight, that's the 100 gram. This small one with the small weight, that is the 10 gram. And this little tiny one, that is the 1 gram. So I'll show you how to use it. First, you want to make sure everything is at 0, all the way. So if we want to measure the microscope, we know it's bigger than the hand lens, but we don't know how much bigger. We go like that, so it's going to immediately come up. So you want this to be in the very center. We're going to start with the heaviest weight first. We'll go to 100. Okay, 100 is too much. So we're going to take our 10, go all the way to the end, and then slowly work our way back down. So 90 is too much, 80 is too much, 70, 60, 50, so it's not very heavy. Okay, so we know it's in between 40 and 50. You see what happened? 40 it's up, 50 it's down. So we're gonna go to 40, and then we'll go to our last little tiny one, and with your finger or with a pencil, scoot it down until it starts going towards the middle. All right, So the mass of this microscope without a battery is about 49 grams. So I'll show you what it looks like up close. Okay, that's what it looks like up close. The medium size weight is on the 40 and the small weight is close to the 9. All right. In order to measure the volume of liquid, there are two different things that we use. This is a graduated cylinder, and this is a beaker. If you look at them side by side, you can see that they're both round. They both hold liquid, but the graduated cylinder is usually skinnier and taller than the beaker. Okay, so the most liquid that this can hold right here is 25 milliliters, which is ml. And you can see right here that this is 250, which is 10 times as much as this. So even though this is taller, this still holds more. And all you do is just look at where the bottom of the water or any liquid that you're measuring is. And that's how you know the volume of the liquid. Okay, the last thing is a notebook. And this is the most important one, because after you measure all of this stuff, after you use all these tools, you've got to write it down or else you'll forget it. So in your notebook, you can make it colorful, you can create charts, you can just write stuff down, but always, always, always put stuff in your notebook. Okay?